Welcome to Networking 2.0, the 101 series. My name is Jose Leimane. I'm the author of Networking 2.0, How Social Media Has Redefined the Way We Connect, and co-founder of Boston Tweetup, a new media event planning and promotional service based in Boston, Mass. In this 101 series, we help the 7 event stakeholders best leverage events and new media to maximize their events. Enjoy. In this episode, we talk about 5 tips to introduce yourself and meet new people at networking events. The number 1 tip is for the warm introduction or the warm meeting. And this is when you've already connected with the individual on social media. And we talked about that pretty extensively in previous videos, so I'm not going to go too in depth into it. But this type of introduction I call warm because you've already met them virtually. All you're doing is meeting them IRL or in real life. So it makes the introduction or meeting that much more comforting, if you will. So I would generally start there when you're going to a networking event. The second is a cold introduction. And this is when you don't know the person whatsoever. They might not have registered in advance or whatever the case might be. So there's 2 types of cold introductions. There's the name tag and then there's without the name tag. With the name tag, it's probably the easier version. You basically just read the person's name on their name tag and say, "Hello, Sarah, how are you doing?" Very simple. And start off with that introduction versus, "Hello, Sarah, what do you do?" Now, the reason why I don't like "what do you do" is because that person might be doing something that they don't like. So that you've just reminded them of something that they don't like, and this is your first introduction. Now, I know everybody does that, but it does not make it right. So a nice warmer way to introduce yourself or be introduced to this person for the very first time is basically ask them how are they doing and go from there. The second type is if they don't have a name tag and you just basically say, "How you doing? My name is Jose Leimane. So what brings you here today?" Something along those lines, something that reflects your personality. Again, avoiding the whole "what do you do." The other thing about introducing yourself to people with no name tags, with "what do you do," is the fact that they might not even be there for the event. So you're just talking to a random stranger, basically, you stalker. No, just kidding. But just wanted to let you know that, again, if you make it more of a warm introduction, things will go that much easier for you in the long run. So step 3 or tip 3, I would say, is the context or no context introduction. Context introduction is that when you know someone, you can introduce that person to someone with some context. You know them, so you can say, "Hey, Sarah, meet John. John is from Harvard. And hey, John, Sarah's from BU. You guys should connect based on your experience in education," or something along those lines. So this is for the person that's a little bit more advanced. You obviously know these people, so you can make this introduction. The no context. This is for people that you might not know too well. So the easiest way you could kind of introduce that person is to do the no context finger pointing introduction, which is, "Do you guys know each other?" And then point to them, and they would naturally just introduce themselves. This gives you an opportunity to get to know their name again if you forgot it, and what they do and how they like to be introduced, so that you could introduce them in that way when you introduce them to other people. The 4th way to introduce someone is to walk them over to someone. "Hey, I want to introduce you to someone," and then you use a contextual introduction for that. Pretty straightforward. The last one is leveraging social media to introduce someone. You generally do that before or after the event. So, "Hey, John," via Twitter, "Sarah's going to be at this event that we're going to tonight. You guys should meet." Okay? Or after the event, "Hey, Sarah, did you get a chance to talk to John?" And you put this on Twitter or social media. So those are the 5 different ways to introduce or meet someone on at a networking event. So 1 is cold introduction. Second is first one is a warm introduction. Second is cold introduction. 3 is the contextual and non-contextual introduction. 4th is the "let me introduce you," walk you across the room. And 5 is the social introduction. So those are the 5 tips on how to meet and introduce people at a networking event. As always, happy networking. Thank you for watching. If you loved it, and I know you did, share, rate, comment, or subscribe. I will see you at a tweet up soon.